Hi, this is Dave Bazar, and I've got Mike Fenn, and we are here to talk to you about the January shipment report, which came out today. That is the sixth shipment report of the marketing year, so that makes it the halfway point. Mike, why don't you go ahead and tell us what the numbers show?
So January monthly shipments were down 12%.
Ouch.
Yeah, so it was a stumbling block. Logistics are really playing into, I believe, the vast majority of that. Export shipments were down 9%. Domestic shipments were down 17%. It brings our total year-to-date shipments to a 16% increase, and that's about a 6% change down from the previous year-to-date shipments, that August through to December period. So I think it's going to be it's going to be something that we're going to have to deal with as an industry. And
I know, I mean, for sure the exports were affected by logistics, and we've been talking about it really since November, and it hasn't had an effect as far as what we can see, but this month for sure.
Right. Why don't
you give us a little detail on that?
So from our experience, what we experienced in the month of January, we had 82 containers that were delayed. By delayed, I mean going from January into the month of February. At the same time, we also had 2 vessels that just decided that they were not going to show up at the Port of Oakland. And a lot of that is because of the long wait time for vessels to be unloaded and loaded in Oakland. As of yesterday, there was 11 vessels at anchor. Normally, there's none.
And that's I assume a COVID type deal. You've got a labor union. Maybe you don't even have to say it's a labor union, but you're obviously running a lower crew. I mean, I guess I'm just trying to say maybe the labor union isn't the reason, but
they're running at 50% capacity there for sure. LAX had 37 vessels that were at anchor. So I mean, same exact issue there. And a lot of it really is vessels are just saying, look, I'm not going to wait in line. I can make more money by running the Far East to Europe route where rates have gone through the roof. Guys were maybe paying $2,000 per container for freight from the Far East into Europe, and today, I think people are paying close to $16,000. So I think a lot of ship lines are starting to position themselves to take advantage of that route. At the same time, you have had massive market consolidation in the steam ship line industry. You had Maersk and Hapag-Lloyd, number 1 and number 4, basically, in the industry combine and basically give us, the customers, less options. So when they decide to make a decision, it dramatically affects our industry and global commerce. We're a member of the Western Agricultural Processors Association. We called the CEO president yesterday and asked, what is WAPA doing? And so they are going to the federal level, the Federal Maritime Commission. They are lobbying them. They are putting pressure on our congressional representatives. They are, writing letters to the President of the United States. So they're putting as much pressure as they can politically on the situation. But what it sounds like, the way we're going to come out of this really is it's going to be slow. You're going to have to really probably get people vaccinated, that workforce vaccinated, so that they feel like they can be working close to that 100% workforce capacity, so that we can work through this backlog. So I think it's going to take some time, but you're finally seeing the negative impact that it's having on us. So that was shipments.
Right.
Down 12% for the month. Can't really explain the domestic decrease in shipments. The next piece we look at is the crop receipts. So we have received, according to the USDA receipts, we've received 3,041 million pounds. So we've crossed the 3 billion pound threshold, which was kind of what all of our expectations were. So now we have a slightly larger crop. I think the math that everybody's been kind of penciling about how far sold we are, what the carry-in's going to be based on, it started to change. So I think you go from using a 3 billion pound number to a 3.1 billion pound crop. So that also has some negative effects potentially. That being said, once we do the math again using a 3.1 billion pound crop, we're still further sold than we were this time last year. I think that's a positive. The sales that were made in the month of January were 205 million pounds compared to last year's 210, slightly down. But last year's 210, I mean, that was a phenomenal sales month for the month of January.
And 205 is okay.
Yeah, it's good. It's you love to see it up, but
for sure.
It is what it is. I also would comment about India. I mean, we've been talking about India since August. Yeah. And we've really been talking about them because they've just been hitting huge records. And for the first time this year, India's down. They took 23 million pounds in the month of January compared to 29 million pounds that they took last year. And I think that's a positive, actually. Yeah. There had been a little bit of fear in that local market that they were taking, they couldn't keep this pace up. They couldn't stay 80% up and keep the goods moving and keep cash turning over. So I think actually seeing that decrease in shipments to India for the month is actually a good thing. I think that people will be able, the local market will probably go up. I think it'll support our customers there locally in India, therefore bringing them back into the California market. So, when you see down shipments at times, it also means people didn't get as much as they normally would.
Right. And I know, I mean, that we're hoping that's the case in the domestic market. I mean, that is a little bit of a shocker to us, I think, because it is, you can't explain it with shipments. I mean, with trucking and that type of thing that we're doing the exports. But we can only hope that, okay, they didn't take a lot in January, which means, hey, they need it in February. Okay. You got anything more on the shipment numbers and that?
I really don't.
Well, then what we wanted to do is do real quick, Mike, if you can hand me one of those branches. We are headed to the biggest time of year, which is the bloom time. So brought in a couple examples of what we're seeing. We are seeing quite a bit of leaves that have come out, which is a little unusual. I hate to say it, but nobody knows exactly what that means. I think we typically believe that it's not a good sign, sort of the tree going vegetative rather than productive. Wondering if the rest of you are starting to see that. This is a great example, some of these bigger deals, bigger leaf showing up. There's also a pretty low bud count, right? And I think this is a good example of it. It depends on which branch you take, but you'd like to see that a little more covered. This would be a better example of, boy, I wish my whole tree looked like that. A younger growth, fully covered with buds. If you looked close, and maybe they can't show you exactly, there's still a little bit of leaf push right here. Again, still a little strange. Again, we don't know exactly what that means. I know we all want to have a lot of buds. That just gives our odds a little better. We're not seeing that. We are hurtling toward bloom, and that is the big time of year. So I would imagine 1 week from now we will have significant bloom, and we'll be able to talk about that. So let's see what comes from here.
And so what we're planning on doing is we're putting out weekly videos during the bloom period. If you guys are not part of our email list, we have a YouTube channel entitled The Almond Company. So if you're not on the email list, just subscribe to that YouTube channel and it will give you alerts every time we post new videos. So if you guys want to stay up to date with Dave and the latest, we call it, subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay in touch.
All right. Thank you very much. See you.